season 3 of Glow takes the ladies to Vegas.
Yes.
Okay, so what can we expect? First of all, tell me why they made the move to Vegas.
I think the move to Vegas, well, first of all, the original Glow, our show is based on an actual women's wrestling show,
Yes.
The Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, from the 80s. And they actually shot their show in Las Vegas. So this is sort of staying true to form of the original story of that show.
Right.
But I really think it's just a bold move. Our creators, Liz Flahive and Carly Mensch, like to push the boundaries with this show. They don't want to do the same thing twice. They want to keep changing it up and exploring new territory. And it certainly shakes things up to move the entire cast to Las Vegas. So it feels like a real departure from our first couple seasons. We're used to seeing this gang of women as scrappy underdogs. They're fighting to get on a wrestling show, learn about wrestling, and then fighting to keep the show on the air. Now we're in Las Vegas. They're doing the show as a live stage show, and things are pretty cushy. They all sort of have a steady job and they're making money. But while Vegas at first feels really exciting and kind of sexy and dangerous, it very quickly becomes super claustrophobic. They're all living in the same hotel where they're working every night in the showroom and eating at the same buffet every night and gambling in the casino. And I think now that they're not struggling with, their place in the show, it makes them kind of turn inward, and it's a real self-reflective season for all of the characters. They're sort of more asking existential questions about who they are as women and what they want.
And Ruth has been asking herself some questions as well when it comes to her relationships between Russell and Sam, the director. So what is in store there?
Well, I mentioned Vegas being sexy and dangerous.
Yes.
I certainly think that applies to Ruth and Sam's relationship. They're living next door to each other in adjacent hotel rooms now, and they're in Sin City.
Right.
And her boyfriend is hundreds of miles away.
And what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
There's a lot of tropes that could be applied here. And it's a challenge for them. I think it certainly makes them both think a lot about how they feel about one another and whether or not they want to express that to one another.
So how about Debbie? Because things were a little rocky in season 2 when Debbie broke Ruth's ankle.
Yes.
So has the relationship healed at all?
I don't know if it has fully healed, but certainly this is the best we've ever seen them. Being in Vegas, I always think of Ruth and Debbie as like the will they, won't they of the show, that relationship. And being in Las Vegas, away from these incidents that have happened in Los Angeles, it's sort of like Ruth and Debbie's Las Vegas affair. They're stealing moments backstage and in the kitchen to hang out the way they used to hang out as best friends.
Right.
And like actually listening to each other, seeing each other, giving each other life advice. It's really sweet and it's really fun because Betty Gilpin and I love each other so much, and we've just had to play enemies for the past 2 seasons where we can't even look each other in the eye. It's like really refreshing to get to just hang out.
Yeah. Is that tough to play sort of a nemesis to somebody who is your good friend?
I mean, no. I mean, it's not tough because Betty is such an incredible actress and she's just such a fun scene partner, and we've gotten to do so much together in the wrestling ring. So that's where we've gotten to connect physically, which has been really cool.
Yeah.
But it is a nice change of pace.
Right. So even though the season takes place in Vegas, you didn't actually film there.
No, thank God. when we heard the storyline was moving,
survive
I don't
that
think
long
so. I
filming
was
in
like,
Vegas?
that was our first question to everyone. We were just, so where are we shooting the show?
Yeah.
Are we shooting in Vegas? We shot in LA. We shot at LA Center Studios, which is where we used to shoot Mad Men. So it was pretty funny. We were shooting on the exact same stages at that studio. So it was like pretty trippy to be back there, my old haunt. And now it's the 80s instead of the 60s.
Right.
So that was pretty interesting.
So you actually got to direct an episode this season.
Yes.
Which episode was that?
7th episode.
Okay. And so what was that like for you, that experience?
It was incredible. It was incredible. It was so engaging. And obviously this show already has us firing on all cylinders.
Yeah.
We're doing comedic work, dramatic, physical work. But it just challenged a new side of my brain. I've wanted to direct for a long time, and I had spoken to our showrunners about it in season 1, just kind of floating the idea past them. And so I was really excited that they gave me the opportunity, and it was such a fun new way to engage with our crew and collaborate with everybody. And our cast was amazing. Everybody was so supportive. It was really fun.
Was this your first foray into directing?
Yes.
Wow.
And I hope I get to do it again. I think I did a pretty good job.
I'm sure you did. And this is this is something that you kind of want to explore maybe in the future?
Definitely, especially now that I've done it. I think prior to doing it, I was nervous and excited and thought I might do an okay job, but you never know.
Yeah.
And now that we've done it, I have a bit more confidence moving forward, and I really loved it.
I'm sure it's an adrenaline rush too.
Absolutely.
Every
I mean,
day.
I've never been more stressed also. That was the flip side of like, didn't sleep a wink for those 2 weeks, but also it was a thrill.
If you care about what you do enough, that's how you are, you know?
Yeah, I like to think that.
Okay, so you actually were directed yourself by your husband,
Yes,
Dave
that's right.
Franco, in the new horror movie that's coming out called The
Yes.
Rental.
Yes.
Okay, so what was it like working with your husband?
Wonderful.
Yeah?
Wonderful. He's a fantastic director, and Dave is just, he's a wonderful person. He's very kind and has such a warm, engaging energy. So it was really fun to watch him on set and how he worked with his crew and directed the actors, including myself.
Right.
It was just so easy to work with him. We've acted together a couple times, but obviously this was our first time with that new dynamic.
Yeah.
And it's all I want to do now. I'm like, okay, when's your next movie,
When are we working
honey?
together
'Cause
again?
I'm in.
I love that. Was it tough to keep it professional? Because I would imagine you'd want to call each other the standard pet names, you know? I'm sure.
I 100% called him pet names. Our first rehearsal, I was like, honey, do you think I should exit earlier? And then I kind of was like, oh. And then I was like, do you want me to call you Dave on set?
David, Mr. Franco?
Yeah, he was like, call me David Franco only.
That's right. Exactly.
That didn't last long.
Okay, so you just recently got to present at the VMAs.
Yes.
How was that? That had to be exciting.
It was pretty wild.
Yeah.
It's like sensory overload. I've never been to the VMAs before, but I've been watching them since I was a kid, so it was
Right.
pretty cool that Missy Elliott was being honored because I remember her music videos so vividly
So
from
good.
growing up. So that was exciting.
Okay, so I have to talk about this photo that came out of you in French Montana.
I haven't seen this photo.
You haven't. You really
but I've
haven't
heard
seen it.
No, I haven't.
You've-
But I heard a little something about it.
Because he couldn't keep his eyes off of you. If you know what I mean.
Here's what I'll say.
Okay.
French Montana was lovely to me, and he was very respectful, and it was wonderful to meet him. And you know, in his defense, I was wearing a very low-cut dress. I don't know how you could have avoided looking at my chest.
You looked beautiful. You can't blame the guy.
I agree.
Right? I'm sorry. Who was the artist that you ran into that you were a little starstruck by? If
Gosh.
any, I mean, because you're a mega star yourself.
I honestly, we didn't see a lot of people. You know who I saw backstage was John Travolta, and I was a little starstruck, and I was also like, John Travolta's here. It just felt like a random occurrence, and it was kind of cool.
You know what's funny is you say that because he was here not too long ago.
Well,
Yeah.
So it's not that random. He's popping in all over. We're on the same circuit. I'm going to see him when I leave.
Exactly. He also has no hair anymore. You know what that was
interesting.
inspired by?
No.
Pitbull.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Gosh, the more you know.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So Gina Davis is a new character this season. What was it like to work with her?
Incredible.
Yeah.
She is the loveliest person and such a movie star. That's someone I'm starstruck by, just seeing her on set. You know, her movies A League of Their Own, to which our first season was compared a lot with that sort of like, you know, coach and female team aspect. And, you know, Thelma and Louise. These were like really pivotal films in my life and you know, really inspiring to me as an actress. And so it was wonderful to work with her. And she's a big fan of the show, which was just great to hear.
It's one of those moments you were like, took a step back, right?
And you like the thing I do. Yeah, it was great.
What's it also like to work with such powerful women?
Oh, it's the best. It really is different than any job I've ever worked on. And it's so cool to do a project surrounded by women working in so many different aspects of the show, in front of the camera, behind the camera, directing, writing, on our crew. The first ADs are women. Like, it's inspiring to me. I think all of us, it sort of broadens your mind. We're in this moment right now. I mean, we're always in these transitional moments of feminism and trying to inspire the next generations. And I feel like I'm daily inspired just by the women around me. You know, it led to me directing the season of going like, oh my God, maybe I could do that.
Yeah. Will there be a season 4?
I hope so. I'm crossing my fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Alison Brie, thank you.
Thank
and
you.
You can catch season 3 of Glow streaming right now on Netflix.
Want more extra? Hit the subscribe button and the bell and never miss a video.